I'll give you just a second to play with this first. Because it's kind of confusing on what it's asking for. So remember, you've got an existing solid, you've got a shape inside that solid. Press pull it and move it.
How do you get it so it's at that angle?
Shift the middle right mouse button. Move the
Oh,
mouse.
gotcha. Thank you.
The light bulb go on there, Cheryl?
No.
Oh, darn, I was hoping that was a positive, oh, ah.
Somehow my circle has moved to the middle. Okay. Why can't?
That's all right, doesn't matter. Do a press pull on it and pull it out.
So it's okay if it's outlining here?
As long as it's inside that shape.
Okay, I mean, mine is a skinny, I can't make a box, I have vacuum set, adjustment, and I have 10, and I can't get, why is it so skinny?
Because you extruded it skinny. Just undo
Yeah,
back to your
I
2D
said
shape.
10,
Then your original box is huge. Remember, that screen's infinite. It just matters where you're zoomed in on.
no,
Am I?
no.
Okay.
And I said, right, there's the -4, it made a sliver.
Okay. So here I'm back on my 2D shape. You gotta have a solid, folks, so I'm gonna do an extrude, and I'll just do the mass. Pull it out. Make it whatever size you wish. Doesn't really matter. Turn that to a different layer. Then I'm going to do press pull. This time I'll do it a little bit differently. I'm going to take this circle and I'm going to do a move on it. Let's move it from there to midpoint. This time I want to cut half a circle out of the top. Okay. Now I'm going to use press pull. Wants me to select here. Notice as I select here, it only selects the common areas. And I'll go back and let's shoot to midpoint of this guy. Now I've cut that half circle out of the top. So maybe go back to the start, Lisa, and just delete everything, draw yourself a quick rectangle and extrude it, then do the press pull.
So first you click. I've gotten it to work, but I don't know how I did it. So first you click in the middle of,
Any bounded shape,
and it's the one that's going to.
any closed P-line shape. Now, it's got to be a solid that you can create a solid out of. It's got to be a P-line.
And you're able to basically extrude it or extend it either way.
Yes.
And then you have to click something else.
No? You're done.
Oh,
It's already done all the work for you. Yes.
Would it be easier to do a circle or an arc on that? Because later on when you wire it, you'll still see the full circle.
No, it left my original geometry right here. I can just delete that out.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't need that. That's a construction line.
Oh, gotcha.
Now, how do you really use this, folks? You use it really with a dynamic UCS. And this is really the power of the press pull, is first you've got to draw the shape on the surface. Okay. Now, I'm on my front UCS, right? So if I draw, I'm on this plane, unless I use a snap, and the snap will override the plane. What if I wanted to circle on this side, and I wanted to subtract it, or any shape? How do I draw on that surface?
Click on the surface.
Okay, I use dynamic UCS. Now, I can switch to a right side view because I oriented this to my glass box, but you don't have to. You do not have to switch to UCS. And this is the first page of chapter 4, and I said, this is pretty important. Know this dynamic UCS. It's in the status bar. You have to have it turned on. Okay. Now, how do I draw on this surface without switching to UCS? Okay. I'm just going to do a P-line command. and I'm gonna hold the control key down, and notice as I come onto this surface, see how it kind of changes? Do you see that switching? I'm moving my cursor on and off it. Okay. Well, a second I get my cursor on that surface, it recognizes I'm on that surface, and it switched me already. If I go to the top, notice that one changes? I'm now drawing on that plane. I'm holding the control key down. If I come to here, I'm drawing on that plane. So I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to click a point because I'm drawing on that. Ah, darn it. Key line. Okay. And I use the control key, come down, it switches my UCS. Come on, switch to P line, I must not, oh, P, okay, no wonder. PL. Okay. Yeah, let's just do it, make this easy. Okay. Now I went and drew. Now I'm on this face. It's going to stay on this plane the rest of the time I draw. So I'm just going to kind of drop in a quick shape. Okay. Now I'm going to do a circle. And again, I got to hold the control key to get on that plane. Come on, switch from. I'm going to make a liar out of me here all of a sudden. Oh, my dynamic UCS switched off. That's why. Okay, let me go back. P line. Come here. Now I'm drawing. And let me just go to an arc. See how I'm kind of on that same plane? Let me do a line. Okay, so now I've made a shape. Now I'm going to use press pull on it to go ahead and take that thing back. I'll go that way. Okay, now I just cut that hole through it. Or I could add them, either or. But that dynamic UCS allows me to get onto any plane without switching my user coordinate system. Yes, Patrick?
Can you move that shape you just drew? Down or over, however far?
Yeah, but it comes later. I don't want to go there at this point.
Okay.
That's in chapter 12.
Okay.
So when it switches the UCS, your other one is still also current. So
Yeah, I'm still on my
two-
front UCS.
you have two going on at the same time.
It's only, the dynamic UCS is only good for that one command. And then as soon as I draw, I'm off that plane.
Right. So once you, like on this one, it was only that little shaded area that's applicable.
Yes.
So if later, you clicked on it, is it reverting back to the old one?
Yep, I'm now on my front. And let me just throw this out there, folks. Page 96. You need to use a dynamic UCS. This thing's hugely fast.
What did you say, 96?
96. Now, since we're right here, this isn't in this part of the chapter, but let's hit this one since it's right next to it, polysolid. Do you know how to use the polysolid command? This is real useful if you have a rectangular type of shape or something with some thickness. Okay. But let's just real quickly run over how to use the polysolid command. If you are, I know a lot of you are interested in architecture in here. This is the command I would use if I was doing architectural drafting and I wanted a 3D solid in here. Because what do I use? I use polysolid. Okay, now it's giving me a couple options. And if you click on the polysolid, look at your options at the bottom. You have some height and width options. Or you have an object. It will actually do any shape that you've already drawn. You just select the object and it will run off of that object. But here, I'm going to switch it to height. So I'm going to type in 8 for height, and I'm going to give it a height of 2. Now I'm then going to give it a width, and I'll give that a width of 2 also. Now I'm just going to draw a point, and I'm just going to keep going here. Think walls. Okay, I'm doing walls, too thick, too high. And I'm just digitizing points. Now if I go ahead and turn this up, look at what I just did. So if you have a symmetrical shape, you can start with a P-line of any shape. Just select the object and then you start digitizing in any direction you want. You do have to stay planar with it. I will say there's one kind of downfall to it.
So when it does that, does it go from both sides of the line or one side of the line or?
That's a good question. I think it comes from your surface side. Because if you kind of look on here, that's lined up with that front edge right there.
Yeah.
And I typed in positive values, which are, my height is in and out of the screen. If I would put a -2, this edge is lined up on my UCS. If I would put a -2 for my width, it would be on the back side of it.
So if we had it in architectural, would we have to
Yep, you gotta always pay attention to that third dimension.
Okay.
So that one's kind of a nice one, just for a quick generic shape. Just to show you the other option, I'm going to go back to front. This time I'm going to use a P-line, and I'm going to draw some weird shape here. Let's go ahead and draw an arc. And we'll go to a line. Let's do an arc. And close it. There's my slot. Okay? That's closed P-line. I'm going to use a polysolid. Now I got to rotate 90 degrees to it. Go to the right side view. Polysolid. This time I'm going to use an object. This guy. Darn, it's not liking this shape. The object is your path.
Did you tell her how big to be?
Yes. I left it, yeah, you still have to do your height and width. I just left it in defaults. All right, they only have one other command in there. Let's hit this and take a break. Offset edges. Okay, this one's right up here. I've got it highlighted. It's on your home menu. And again, you need a solid for this. Let me draw a quick circle and extrude it. Then I come choose offset faces. Select the face, and then give a value. Okay. So here, let's go 2 units. And it alters that. So it works exactly as the offset command, except that it's working with a solid, and it adds or subtracts from that solid. And you can do any face. What's that? It's right here.
That, oh, that's that one.
So another quick way, now grips will do that exact same thing for you. But many times we're familiar with the offset, and this will work for that. Now, real quickly, chapter 12. Let me just highlight this one. 12 is for working with existing solids. There are some in here that are very valuable, some that aren't so valuable that you won't use. In essence, you're using the solid edit command for most of this, which is some of this items right here, and many of these items right here, the rest of these guys. There are some very powerful things in there. The biggest, the most powerful thing, in my opinion, is how do you take an existing 3D solid and attach to a face or some part of it. And that's really what the big power is. Because it saves you a ton of UCS work. Right? And anytime we can get that. So you want to pay attention to those guys. Now, as I look down on here, the extrude face, I don't know that that one's very powerful because I can use grips, I can use offset edge, I can do all that, right? That's all doing the same thing. Taper face, this one is pretty powerful to me. The taper face, again, with grips, I can grab a vertex and taper an edge, but it's hard to be real accurate with it. And the taper face allows me quite a bit, another level of accuracy. Copy faces, this is one I use a ton of. Okay, so maybe here's the ones you should really kind of pay attention to. You want taper, okay, because it allows you some accuracy. Copy faces, this one's really big. Now when I say copy face, what it's going to do, I can take this face and copy it anywhere I want. But the nice part about that is it gives me that shape that I can then attach a UCS to, or I can use it for extrude, subtract, all that stuff. Okay. And it will take any face. For visual, you might want color face. Okay. Color isn't really good for editing. But when you do like conceptual mode or wireframe, it's hard to know, am I on the front surface, am I on the back surface or whatever. I've seen a lot of drafters swear by it where they'll go in and they'll color every surface perpendicular to one at one color, all the others another one. It really makes it pop for them and they can visualize better. So as a beginning drafter, you might want to think of that one. Now on the next menu up, on this one, the extract edges is awesome. In essence, I can extract a 3D wireframe of this object. And again, I use that in a drawing mode to, in essence, edit it. Because I'm going to get 2D lines. The imprint, I kind of quit using that with the dynamic UCS. I think those are the 4 biggies out of here that you really want to know how to use. Now there's some other commands in there like shell and stuff in 12. Okay, so that's kind of solid edit. Let me just real quickly go back to it. The deleting faces I don't use very often because it's part of the shell. Let's see. Editing. Oh, as you go through on page 320, okay, you've got some other ones that aren't really part of solid edit. So that's solid edit. You have a separate and a shell. Okay. 2 great commands, but you got to know how they work. Separates for when you screw up. If you union something together that you weren't meant to, how do you get it back apart? Well, you gotta explode it like 3 times and then redo the whole thing. Separate sometimes will save you. The shell command is just a great way to make pipes or any thin feature. And I think the rest of it's just kind of examples. That'll get you through 12. Chapter 13, real quickly. 13 is a real short chapter. Do not spend much time in 13. It's only like 5-6 pages. If you're spending over 20 minutes on that chapter, you're spending too long. Okay, it's pretty simple. You gotta have an SHX font and you give it a depth. And you create 3-dimensional text. How many people envision getting through chapter 13 today? Let's see, show of hands. Anybody gonna get into 14?
Maybe.
14 is where we start printing. So I'm gonna cover, I need to get into 14 tomorrow, you'll need it for your assignments. All right, with that said, we're gonna take a break. I've been going for quite a while, 55 minutes or so. So let's take a break and we're gonna come back and do a little drawing.